Well, first of all, I don't see them using an Amero because I think that the amalgamation of Mexico, the United States, and Canada is on the back burner because they got cut off at the pass. People like yourself and programs like this alerted the public, and they've essentially, for the time being at least, stopped them. The Council on Foreign Relations plan, which came from the Royal Institute in London, it was just simply exposed. These people, like many egotistical types, can't keep their mouth shut. So if you want to find out what they're going to do, all you have to do is read Foreign Affairs, which is the literary organ of the Council on Foreign Relations, and they'll tell you. And so I think that for the time being, there will not be North American Union nor an Amero. What I think is going to happen here is we're into an inflationary depression. Inflation will start running back up again. It's about 9% in the United States right now. And that's the best I can get it. It was at 13.6% earlier on, about 8 months ago. And I think we're going to have hyperinflation over the next 2 to 3 years as the money that is being created by the Treasury and the Federal Reserve is monetized. In other words, they create money out of nothing and then shove it into the system, and it causes immediate inflation, immediate being within 3 months. Now, the economy can only take so much more of that, because for 5 years, we've had a combination of inflation and deflation. The deflation coming in the losses that you've seen in housing and in the stock market and in business in general, and you see it headed downhill in a big way right now. So those deflationary aspects have been offset by an increase in money and credit, which you're still witnessing. And so somewhere along the line, as we are in hyperinflation, whether it's 20% or 100%, remains to be seen. The point is, somewhere along the way, they're going to pull the plug in congruity with the war, the Third World War, that they'll start over the next 2 years. And when they do that, then what they will do is they will call for all currencies to be devalued, on all debt to be defaulted upon. And they will come up with a world currency. And it will be rejected by everyone. And that's when it's going to hit the fan.
With the massive division of wealth we see going on here, perhaps the most in the history of the world, do you see the elite of the world all scooping up companies such as General Motors, which was my opinion that General Motors was just going to be scooped up and with all the money that's floating around, gobbled up by all the elite of the world?
Well, the answer to that is yes, but it'll encompass, hundreds of thousands of homes and buildings and businesses, and they want it all. And they want a kind of a combination socialism, which will include many Marxist precepts as well as fascist. I mean, we just got rid of a corporatist fascist government, and we were handed a Marxist government. And there's not a heck of a lot of difference. It all depends on who you like best, Adolf or Joe Stalin. But the American public doesn't understand that because half of them are illiterate. So how can they be expected to understand anything? I mean, they just have another war and they charge them off and get them killed. I mean, that's what this is all about. It's power, power, power. And this is what they're going for. They're going, as you might say, in Spanish, the whole enchilada. And this time they're going to get cut off at the pass. Because we know what they're doing. We know who's doing it. And the military is very well aware of this. I do a military program and have for the last 3 years. And it's for retired as well as operating people in the service, particularly in the Navy and in the Marines and also the State Department. And And I talked to a Special Forces officer several weeks ago, and he says, and he's stationed in the United States, and he says in our mess hall we have a big banner that says, expletive, the New World Order. So these people are very well aware of what they're fighting for and who's pulling the strings. And the answer to this is you don't take any orders from anybody that you should not take. And the military people know what they can and they cannot do. And unlawful orders can be disobeyed. And the same is true with law enforcement. And there is a day coming in the future when these men and women are going to have to make a decision. Are they going to break the law and work with government, or are they going to work with the people? And as a postscript to that, I've said many times on radio, there's 450 million weapons in the United States. There's 40 million experienced people who have been trained the same as the people who are currently in the military and law enforcement. And if they want 40-1 odds against them, we'll take them on.
All right, Mr. Chapman, we're coming up on a break. We're talking to Bob Chapman, the international forecaster, theinternationalforecaster.com. We're going to go to a break, and when we come back, let's talk about that. Let's talk about civil unrest here in America and what people should do to prepare, and the price of gold. We'll be back after the break. All right, we are back on The Real News, and we are joined with Bob Chapman, the International Forecaster. You can go to his website, theinternnationalforecaster.com, and subscribe to his newsletter if you want to find out trends and what's coming in the future. This gentleman is very well learned, very well versed, and has been right on so many things. For the common people, Mr. Chapman, what do you recommend for people to do to get prepared for what's going to happen in our economy in the next 12 months?
Well, I think the most important thing of all is, and this is because one of the breadwinners, when we have 35% unemployment, which will probably be about 2 years from now, I just got my new figures yesterday, and official unemployment, as you've seen, is 8.1%. The government U6 is that first figure plus those who have not been working for a year. That's 14.8%, when in fact that real figure is 17.8%. So that's where unemployment really is now. They have long-term unemployment, which is higher, but it goes back to 1980. So the real rate right now is 17.8%. We'll see 22 this year, and we'll see 35 next year. So going back to what we were talking about, so there's a good chance one of you, two breadwinners, are going to be out of work. So the most important thing is to have freeze-dried and dehydrated food in your home, as much as you can get. I know my daughter has 2.5 years supply. I don't expect everybody to be fortunate enough to do that, but you've got to have a minimum of 6 months and buy things that you normally eat. You must have a good water filter, and you must be able to defend your family against whatever comes forward. And so I recommend that people have weapons that will fire a multiplicity of times, like an AR-15 or an AK-47.